Hey everyone, welcome into the first ever Keep Fantasy Great pod or video review. Not sure what to call it yet, but it's a long time coming, and I'm your host, the commissioner of this league, and I'm putting this together for you guys, for our league, kind of a good chance for me to talk about what happens in the week and go over all the different message board posts that happen. So your weekly breakdowns, your odds, your power rankings, things like that, for me to drop them here, and everyone gets a chance to watch them rather than read them. I think this would be a great way for the league to kind of bring us all together and kind of have a laugh throughout, hopefully. Today, as you know, I dropped the league history and all the league records of the last 6 years in this league. And with that, I think no better time than to enter year 7 with a tier list breakdown. So what I'm going to be doing, popping up everyone's picture and putting them into tiers S, A, B, C, and D. Again, take it lightly. It's all in good fun. All in due fun. Nothing here is... Don't hold it against me is all I'm saying. But it's all in good fun, and hopefully you guys will agree. And hopefully we can get some guests in the future. But today, without any further ado, let's pop it over to our tier list breakdown. Starting off, let's go with Barrera first. Don't want to turn this into an all-out roast. But Barrera. Last couple years, Barrera has been better. I think he started off shaky, made the playoffs in 2017. If you don't know, bang. Here's our records. So Barrera, right there, 40 and 44. As I was looking through it today, he made the playoffs in 2017. Outside of that, had not made the playoffs, never had a win. I think in his shenanigans phase when he was drowning the league per se, I think Barrera sat himself maybe in that C tier, having the playoff record, having close to 500 seasons. I think he sat in that C tier, but I think Barrera matured. He took it up a notch last year. He made the playoffs. He won a playoff game. He made it to the championship and came close and lost. I like Barrera in the B tier. I think moving forward, he's potentially going to jump himself up more. I think he had a solid draft again, but I think B is a good level-headed spot for Barrera and where he's at right now. Next on our list, we're going down the line here. Stevie Bones. It's been tough. 6 years, no playoff wins, no record above 500, and I mean we could look at it, but 33 and 51. Only winning record against Bart and Groff, who's not even in the league anymore. It's tough. It's been tough for Stevie, but I don't think there's a single person in the league that we want to see do better than Steve. We mean that, and we're rooting for you. But due to the lack of wins in fantasy, I think Stevie's our D to start. We hope, you can only go up from here. So next on our list, we got Big Barty. Now Bart, 46 and 38, third best record in our league. He has been solid. He came in. He made the championship his first year. Lost. The next year, lost. Missed the playoffs. The year after that, won his championship, and he's been dominant ever since. A constant force in the league. Always at the top half of the power rankings. Always battling. Always doing his thing, you may say. He packs a big punch. He backs a lot of game. He talks a big game, but he can back it up. I like Bart in our A tier for our fantasy owners. And then next, you got his brother Cactus, who came into the league, won his first year in the league, missed the playoffs, classic championship thing. You can't hold that against a champion missing the playoffs the year after that. And then came back last year, made the playoffs, and won. So for Cactus, it's going to surprise people. But he came in, has a winning record, 22 and 20. Not too bad. I kind of like Cactus in the A tier as well. He's a champion. It's hard to knock you down a peg when you are a champion, but when you've done what he's done in only 3 years, a championship, he's won playoff games outside of that, 2 trips to the playoffs in 3 years, I think it's tough not to put him right next to his brother over there in A tier. Now, if I did like an A1, I'd have, his older brother at A1 and him at A2. But hey, you gotta give credit where it's due, and you gotta respect that. I think he's done a fantastic job in his short-lived 3 years. I'm gonna skip me for now. We'll get to me later. It's only right. Next up, let's do Josh. Hard to see here as he, puts his picture in with LPG. But Josh, another guy, second best record in the league. He's won a championship. He's won points champ. I think just like Bart, I think they're on that same level tier with each other. I think, they have that respect around the league where it's like every year you think this guy can compete. I put him right next to Barty. There's not much else to say. I think if this was a team naming tier list, which, hey, maybe a future episode, he would probably be in F, which isn't even on this list. We'd have to make a new one for him. But outside of that, his fantasy ability is, where he is. He's an A tier guy. He's competing every single year. Next on our list, Druvy, creator of the website. However, he had a rough start, I'd say, to fantasy. A big drought, and I think he's come a long way since then. 43 and 41, it did not start that way. Definitely started a little bit rougher. He's kind of picked it up. He made the championship in 2019 with Kyle and lost. 2020, we all know what happened then. We all know about 2020. And 2021 made the playoffs, won another game. I think, again, similar to Barrera, but even more so. I think Drew has come a long way, and I think in the more recent years, he's been way better in fantasy. And I see that going up despite, the look of disappointment on his face. I didn't see that nice little smile during the draft at all, I'll tell you that. Coming in with Emmett. Now, Emmett, our first ever champion, but it has been all downhill since then. It has been a lot of losing seasons, 7-7 year in there, where he did make the playoffs at 38, 46 overall, maybe 39 and 45. I don't know. Him and Chichen, their records are a little iffy. But with Emmett comes a lot of respect from that first champion. But he's kind of turned himself into the young draft man, where he takes everyone who's young, and it's thrown his seasons into a small spiral. It's tough to knock down a former champ. Definitely is. But with recent history, and there's a little bit of recency bias in these rankings, I want to throw him in C. I think it's tough because he does have that championship, and that propels you. But I think the only difference right now between him and Steve is that he did make the playoffs and he did win a championship, which is hard to do. I know it more than anyone else. But I think that puts Emmett in that C tier. We're going overall, remember. Overall fantasy tier breakdown. Next up, we got our former champ, my breakup partner, G-Money. Now, G-Money this year is going to be down here. You know how it is with a former champ. They can't make the playoffs. However, if we're going to have one guy at the top, it's going to be G-Money Mags. He's our S tier. Our lone S tier. It all speaks for itself. 6 years, 6 playoff appearances, 3 championship appearances. He finally got that win. 51 and 33 overall. Just overall has been our best fantasy manager. Not a single person has made the playoffs more than 3-4 times. He's made it all 6 years. He's constantly at the top. He's always in contention for winning. I think without his championship, he was sitting in A. But with his championship, he jumps a peg. He goes to that S tier. He finally gets over the hump. I'm interested to see what happens. But he's one of those guys where everyone wants to face him, but he does his thing. He knows how to win. He knows how to play fantasy football. And he gets there every single year. You can't really knock that. Coming up next, we'll take Shijin. Shijin's another one of those tough ones where his playoff record is 2-0, where he's made the playoffs one time, won his championship. He's got 2 points titles, so it's tough to judge because it's either all or nothing for Shijin, and it's pretty much been nothing except for one year in which he dominated the entire league. Similarly to Emmett, they both have that one championship. They both have that one playoff run. But where do we value the overall fantasy performances? I think him and Emmett are very similar in the sense that they both have the same record. They both have that one run. As an overall fantasy manager, I probably put Shijin in C. A lot of lack of awareness. A few times in the draft, he had to look over and say, I don't even know who this is, and then drafted them. He didn't know Devontae Adams was on the Raiders until, 30 minutes before the draft. I think as a fantasy owner, you throw him in the C tier as a manager. However, he does have that championship. He has those points titles. I think we slot him in C due to struggles on the years. You're looking at 6 years. You're not just looking at one. And 5 out of 6 aren't really as good as the one. So I'm throwing him C. Little controversy in this C territory. I think both managers could be Bs. And they've had their A, they've had their S seasons. But they have a lot of D seasons. And I think that drops them into C. Coming in next and last, I'll do myself. Now it's tough. I think what separates me from this territory is the not ability to win in the playoffs. However, I do sit with the 4th best record overall. So I'm constantly in contention, and I think, whether you guys want to admit this because you guys like to knack on my playoffs, or whether I want to admit this, I think I'm always in that contention. I think I'm always one of those people where, I'm never out of it till I'm out of it. However, I can't win in the playoffs. So what separates me from the top is not being able to win in the playoffs. If I win in the playoffs, Cactus and I have the same winning percentage. I'm right below these guys in record overall for the league, but I'm slotting myself into the B. Now you might say, why would you put 2 champions below you? Well, we're looking overall. I get it done in the regular season. I have my 3 playoff appearances, which means I've had my winning records 50-50, whether I win or lose. If I can get over that hump, I think I bump myself into A tier with some playoff wins, maybe a championship. I think I can also fit in the C tier at times, for sure. But little bias here with myself, and I'm going to put myself in the B tier. I think this is an interesting B tier because it's people that can get it done at times and can also struggle. Whereas these guys are kind of always at the top. These guys are kind of always in that middle tier range where they can get it done. And this is your one and dones, your one hit wonders, and then you got Stevie. And for fun, you're like, oh, we got all 10 people. Well, who's the 11? We're the league. The league as a whole is an S. I mean, we got a website, we got a podcast here, we got power rankings every week, we do matchup breakdowns, we do sportsbook odds for all our things. We're constantly chatting, we're constantly memeing. We have a Facebook group, whether we use it or not. We're an S tier league above all else. You constantly see on Twitter, if you ever read a comment or reply underneath fantasy Twitter, they're always complaining. We are not that league. As a league, we are an S tier league. And we couldn't do it without you guys. So, this is my breakdown. We got S tier, the league, and Greg. In our A tier, we got Cactus, we got Bartis, we got Josh. In our B tier, we got Barrera, Drew, me. In our C tier, we got Emmett and Shijin. And in our D tier, we have Steve. Let me know what you guys think. That'll conclude our short and sweet episode 1. Moving forward, there might be a little bit more to talk about. And don't be afraid to leave me an honest review in our group chat, in our Facebook page, whatever it may be, on the website. We have many ways to communicate as a league. Love it. We'll see you next time.